our E9. Got my popcorn ready. Let's enjoy the movie.
Like we used to do.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is Sony's attempt at making another Spider-Man movie, and this time it's from the creators of the Lego Movie, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. Now in this movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse focuses on Miles Morales, who is the only Spider-Man in this movie, who he thought is the only Spider-Man in this movie after the death of Peter Parker, which that's major spoilers. And suddenly there's a collider that opens up and brings Spider-Man from many different universes, including another version of Peter Parker and many more. And now Miles Morales must learn how to be Spider-Man and also team up with the other Spider-Man from different universe and bring them back to their own universe. Now I have to say, when the movie came out, I was very excited, I was very pumped, and then I started thinking that in school I got Advisory Cup, which is the soccer match, but I'm not involved with it, so I thought, why not I go to the closest mall, which I've never been to, and watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I finally did it. I managed to go there, and there's something about the intro which I want to talk about later on. But however, the funny thing about this movie was that when I was watching this movie, I got kids all over my theater. There are kids just literally everywhere. I even got one row next to me with a bunch of small girls. And I was like, well, I mean, I walked in this movie like a kid, but I still walked in this movie like a Spider-Man fan. Now, of course, the big question is this the best Spider-Man movie that we could ever deserve? The best Spider-Man movie ever in a long time? Well, that's something I have to assess myself, because when I was in the middle of watching this movie, I feel like this Spider-Man movie is just completely different than other Spider-Man movies that I used to see these days. The live-action Spider-Man movie really tried with their storylines, but this time here, this one landed a little bit much for me, but to me, it's just either my mind who doesn't think well, or either just my eyes who are trying not to think of how good this Spider-Man movie is well made. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. The animation is good. I really like how the animation style was made in this movie. This movie feels like it has a comic style in this movie, like, you know, basically someone thinking in their head, and suddenly there's those comic-like elements that was used in this movie, and that's what I like about this movie. The movie had those great comic elements in this movie. That's why the animation was great in this movie. If you walk to this movie like as a Spider-Man fan, you will get many references from this movie. For example, you get a reference from the old Spider-Man movie, from the Sam Raimi trilogy. You even get a reference from even animated Spider-Man episode as well, reference from the comics of Spider-Man you read, because you know they would show you, like, whenever one character is introduced, they would just put you a comic. They just drop the comic of the character that you were introduced to, which is, I thought, was also very interesting. The score I thought was great. Daniel Pemberton did a great job with the score, and by the time I'm reviewing this, I mean, on the day I watched this movie, the score, I mean, not just the score, but also the soundtrack for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse should be out, which, I mean, I thought when I listened to the soundtrack, some of the musics are also interesting, so by the time I'm working on this review, I just wanted to re-listen to all the music that I listened in that movie. Now, what bugs me a lot is the storyline, because the storyline, like I said, is completely different to any other Spider-Man movie. Now, this time, it really focuses on love drama in this movie, which I thought was also heartwarming and really touching with this movie. Like I said, this movie focused on Miles Morales' point of view, and as well other different Spider-Man in this movie. And as well, Miles Morales is basically struggling in trying to be the new Spider-Man, because he's like a new starter. He's like a new kid who just started being Spider-Man after being bitten by a radioactive spider, while all the Spider-Man who from the other universe tries to cooperate with him, and however things didn't work well at the time. So it's basically, there's not much of a fighting scene, there's not much of an action scene together. It's just Miles Morales trying to struggle in being the Spider-Man, which I thought was really, you know, really helpful. But at the same time, you got a great humor in this movie. Yes, about the humor, I really love the humor in this movie. The humor is just very enjoyable. I say this myself, that this might be the next version of the Lego Batman movie, which I remember I watched it last year. I mean, it just seems similar. Lego Batman movie and then Spider-Man and Spider-Verse. The difference is this one's more of Lego and Batman. Spider-Man is basically Spider-Man in the form of an animated movie. Now for characters, let's start with Miles Morales. Miles Morales, I thought he was a very good character. I really love how he plays out in this movie. And there are also some comic references what he plays out in this movie. I mean, his father is a cop and his mother is a Spanish person. I mean, his mother speaks Spanish and so is he. And also his uncle, I thought, was also something that I want to talk about. But overall, Miles Morales has a lot of drama in this movie. Peter Parker from another universe, which we call him Peter B. Parker, it's kind of like the more adult version of Peter Parker, because the Peter Parker in Miles Morales' universe is already, you know, different than the Peter Parker that we have from our universe. You got lots of great people like Spider-Gwen, which I thought Hailee Steinfeld did great with her character. Spider-Nora, which I thought was an interesting character. Penny Parker, an anime version, and even Spider-Ham, which I just don't know what to say. I mean, the Spider-Man plays out great. I mean, every time you get introduced to these Spider-Man characters, you also get a little bit of their backstory. You know, they would start from the comic, like how they become bitten by radioactive spider, and how did they do this and how they do that. They explain more about their backstory at the same time as being in Miles Morales' universe, which I thought was also great. Now, I won't say much about the villains, but the villains just blow my mind. You know, some of the villains were also a plot twist, and some of the villains also has a backstory, which I don't think I want to tell you much about the backstory, because the point is it's a Spider-Man movie, and it's about Spider-Mans trying to work together, because this is not your typical Avengers movie where all the heroes will try to get along and then work together. It's Spider-Man from different universes trying to get along in the same universe to go back to their own universes. Now, I want to say is that you need to stay until the after credits. It's gonna blow your mind. The after credits just is hilarious, so I won't tell you much about the after credits, but I'll tell you what, Stan Lee does get a respect in this movie. He does have a great appreciation in this movie. Alright, I have to say this, but Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is an epic take on Spider-Man in one of the greatest animated movies yet to date. Yes, this actually might be the greatest Spider-Man movie we'll ever get. Maybe the best animated movie ever. I mean, I feel like I had a great time watching this movie on my own, and it just feels great. Maybe when I go to New York, I might get this on DVD and then watch it on the plane just in case they have it. Oh yeah, just a little fact. Guys, don't ever record things in the cinemas, alright? Recording is illegal and it's piracy, and piracy is against the law. I was watching the after credits for Into the Spider-Verse, and suddenly one of the securities suspects one of my audiences who tried to record the after credits, and he gets suspended. So yeah, I just want to warn you that piracy isn't good, and recording cinemas, just don't ever do it. Oh yeah, about my intro, I'm not sure, because if I might tell you, I think I'll tell you in the description that my crush was in the intro. She was there, and I won't tell you which is which. But yeah, that was my review on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Have you seen it? What you think of the movie? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, sorry for this late review, because you know, after the movie I got tired, and then I got into the next day, and now it's midnight. So right now there goes my review on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Alright, 2 more movies for 2018. Bumblebee, which I'm gonna get my ticket soon, and Mary Poppins Returns. If you want me to watch it and review it, let me know. Also gonna work on, you know, movies I've seen on November. But yeah, that was my review on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Here's the outro. That is all for this video. If you do enjoy this video, give it a like. That would be very helpful. And in the description, you'll find the link so you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Google+. I appreciate you guys for watching this, and I'll see you another time. Bye-bye.